Hello, welcome to the Parenting Program Show. I am your host, Jeremy, the Kung Fu Guy. I am a force of nature married to another force of nature. Her name is Autumn, and we have two amazing, explosive balls of energy called kids. I am a speaker, teacher, author, catalyst, and Kung Fu master, here to help you empower your kids to speak up and own their voice. We're going to unlock and remove the chains of childhood that seem to hold us from our destiny with the tools to have inner strength, confidence to speak up, be heard, and be understood. Let's go play. Game on, yo. Hello, Parenting Program Podcast Nation, people, follower stuff, awesomeness. I think I need to add more words in there. That was pretty awesome. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are, of course, joined today by Miss Autumn Roadruck, the amazing, the incomparable, the force of nature, the fantastic, the I'm not worthy to be in your presence. Yet somehow every day, here I am.
Okay. Hi, guys.
I really like you. That's what I want to say.
Welcome to the show. I'm this guy's wife. And
Today we're going to talk about family dynamics around the holidays, which are coming up this month and next month.
Yeah, it's really interesting because the fourth quarter, like the last part of the year, seems to be like when you spend the most time with your family between, you know, like Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas. It's cold outside. Everybody's coming in.
Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Solstice, Yule, Packing, Natural Spatula Day, Boxing Day.
Did you get New Year's in there?
Oh, yeah, New Year's. I left that out. Sorry.
Okay. But yeah, today we're going to be talking about family dynamics and just how to navigate
and get along
this time
with these people you've known usually your whole life.
And I find that the holidays are like super stressful, like especially for moms, because like we're thinking about like kids and presents and timetables and recipes, and we got to get dinner. And if your mother-in-law, oh my gosh, I have the funniest story about asparagus and my mother-in-law.
Oh my Lord, yeah.
But we'll get into that here in a minute.
Yeah, and then there's the whole, you got to clean the house and make sure everything looks presentable and the kids look presentable and bring extra outfits in case somebody has an accident, depending on the age of the kids.
Oh my gosh, and the traveling and the weather.
And then, yeah, the weather, I was about to say, you know, do we have all the right stuff in the car? And then somebody slips and falls and gets wet, and that just train wrecks the whole night.
But we're today really going to focus on
the things you can control.
Yes, and the family dynamics and the things that you can control. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
five
nicely
things. Well, thank you.
Phrased.
Thank you. Very nice of that.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. So first thing you got to realize when it comes to family dynamics and just getting along with everybody, realize that your family, as much as you may love them or may not love them, I don't know, no judgment on you, but they're not your peer group. Your family is not going to be necessarily on the same wavelength. They're not going to be interested and geeked out about the same stuff. And recognizing that, you can begin to have different types of conversations.
Yeah, this one I think has been a struggle for both Jeremy and I, just to like realize like the people that you love so much and that should be so supportive of everything you have going on sometimes aren't, because they're their own people and they have their own opinions. And it can be difficult to navigate those relationships, especially when you're like in closed quarters. You're probably away from home. Maybe they travel to you, whatever the case may be. It can be sad and difficult and hard and all those things.
Especially when you show up with expectations and you this year it's going to be different because we're going to have this, and I've been planning and thinking and strategizing, and they're just at a different place. I mean, my brother and my dad are awesome guys. They're both, you know, engineer types, very logical thinking, very process driven, and they both do stuff for the government. And so when we go to family stuff, they are talking about Mythbusters. We know every single holiday, there's going to be a Mythbuster story, at least one, if not like 10. Mm-hmm. And they're both going to be dropping TLAs or three-letter acronyms left and right for the programs and the things they're doing, because that's just the culture that they share. And we're on the outside going, alrighty, you have fun with that. Yeah. How about them Bruins? Which, for those of you that don't know, the Bruins used to be a hockey team here in Dayton, and my friends and I, that was our pattern interrupt. Whenever, no idea what's going on, one of us would turn to the others and go, hey, how about them Bruins?
How about them White Sox?
There you go. We all just knew that we're out of our depth, change the conversation, move on.
Yeah.
So we love our families. They're not our peer group, right?
Yeah.
And one story that if you guys ever get a chance to meet my dad, he will tell you this story, and he's been telling it for like 30 plus years. And it's about how when I was a kid and I swam, I got 5 participation trophies. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 5 years, I got participation trophies every single year. And I'm like, Dad, let it go. It used to make me so angry because, like, I'm a Kung Fu master, I'm an international best-selling author, I'm a speaker, I'm a this, I'm a that, all these things, all these accolades, all these things. I'm like, Dad, just give it a rest. Let it freaking go. And then one day I realized he tells that story because a lot of people in my life now don't know me from back then. They don't know the scared, insecure kid who did just barely scrape by and did the minimum he could at times. And so he's telling that story because he's actually proud of me. He's just doing it in a way that I didn't receive the warmest, the biggest, and the happiest. And when I began to realize, oh, he's actually proud of me. Oh, okay, that story doesn't bother me anymore. Like, instant paradigm shift. And I realized he's just coming in a different way. Not my peer group. He's just different approach. We're cool. I get it. Love you.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so number 2 on our hit of cavalcades is the secret sauce. What is the secret sauce? Dealing with family dynamics and drama and parents and expectations and wishes and hopes and dreams and all that stuff.
What is the secret sauce?
Secret sauce is you got to be patient and you got to breathe, because that's going to get you through a lot of those moments when you just want to scream or throw something or pound your eyeballs into the door. I don't know. But you just breathe, be patient. The stuff is going to pass. This moment's going to pass. You're going to get through this. It's okay. Be patient. Things take time. But the most important is breathe. That actually keeps you in your sleep and food system, nervous system. It keeps you relaxed. It keeps you calm.
I think that this is a perfect time to segue into the asparagus story with my mother-in-law.
Oh, my Lord.
So I look back on this, and it's been like 3 years, and I think it's funny as snot, but man, I was so agitated and frustrated about it. So I had I think it was Easter at the time, the entire Easter dinner done, okay? Like, I got the menu ready, everything's figured out, like, I told everybody, like, what we had, what was being served, who's bringing what, all this stuff.
And we'd already bought the groceries.
And I'm feeling so on top of it. And here it comes, like, Saturday morning, Jeremy's mother says, man, it would be so nice to have some fresh asparagus. Could you get some? And maybe cook it.
Sure, Mom. Absolutely. We love you.
So me, being the daughter-in-law, by the way, this is just known of daughter-in-laws that we will go above and beyond for our mother-in-laws because, man, we want mommy to like us on the other side. So we get this asparagus, and of course we go like Saturday afternoon. There's like one gigantic bundle of asparagus left. And me not being the smart person thinking, oh, I'll just unrubber band and only take what I need. No, I buy the entire gigantic bundle of asparagus. And then we proceed to cook it all. Okay, so Sunday morning, we cook asparagus. It stinks up my house. I hate asparagus. None of my kids like asparagus. Mother-in-law is the only person who really likes asparagus. Do you want to tell them the rest of this story? How it goes down?
I kind of like asparagus. So we have all the food, and of course I'm in the kitchen. I'm doing the cooking thing. I'm like, in my tunnel zone. I'm doing my thing. And we get all the stuff out. We get everything set and arranged, and we have everything on the table. Everyone can pick and choose what they want to eat. My mom takes one stalk of asparagus out of this entire giant pile and proceeds to eat about half of it, and that's all.
Oh my God. I was so frustrated.
I got to hear about that for like 2 or 3 days.
I was so mad about it. I took a picture of it and I sent it to my sister and I was like, this woman only ate one thing of asparagus. Like, I literally have a picture of it on my phone of her entire plate is beautiful with all the other food and one stalk of asparagus. And, like, I'm really sorry if I'm yelling because obviously I'm very passionate about this.
You're fine.
But we had asparagus, like, in our fridge for, like,
weeks.
Ever.
Like, not weeks.
Forever.
Yeah, but it was...
It eventually went bad because, like, nobody else was going to eat this asparagus. And my mother-in-law did not take the asparagus home. But, man, she really wanted asparagus. Like that half stalk.
Right.
Man, I was so
Hey,
frustrated.
you earned daughter-in-law points.
I so did.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
better get into heaven.
Okay, so when it comes to being patient, when it comes to breathing, there's a couple of things you guys can do. You can go outside. You can take 10 deep breaths, counting low and slow. You can, really just change the story that you're telling inside your own head. This is going to pass. I mean, if you need to, I don't know how dysfunctional your family is, but you could just be like, one day these guys will all be dead. I can handle this for another couple of hours. I mean, if that's what's going to get you through, I don't think that's the best strategy, but if that's what gets you through, I'm not going to judge. Do what you got to do to get through the night. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And just hold your tongue, have patience. Like, I mean, looking back on it, I'm sure my mother-in-law did not need nor want me to get this entire thing of asparagus.
No.
I'm sure that she was just maybe hankering for it the one day that she told me that she wanted it. I don't know. There's so many other things, and I look back, and it's just funny.
Yeah.
Like, this is just funny to me.
It's just like, oh my gosh.
But sitting there at that table, man, I had to have patience and just watch this asparagus get passed over.
Yeah. So we don't buy asparagus all that often, just FYI.
Yeah, if you
Family
can't tell.
rule.
That stuff is gross.
We like family rules. All right, so next, dealing with family dynamics, is the idea of just knowing the roles and goals. Recognizing, who these people are. They've had their whole lives to be who they are, to be what they are. So you can either fight that and try and change them. And I will tell you, the only people you can change are wearing diapers. Everyone else got to change themselves. So you can try to change them, act of futility, or you just acknowledge this is who they are, this is how they operate, this is what they like to do, right? Papa likes to smoke his cigarettes. That's Papa. He goes outside. He doesn't do it and blow smoke in the kids' faces. He's not rude about it, but it's just a part of who he is. He's been smoking so long that if he stopped, it'd probably throw his body into shock. So it's just part of the deal. That's okay. We can accept that for who he is. We don't make him wrong. We don't judge him. We don't lecture him. We don't moralize at him, because what's the point?
Right, and I think that this especially comes up when you talk about like the three big things you're really not supposed to talk about, which is religion, money, and politics. And, those are just the things where everybody can get so passionate and have so much energy behind their beliefs and their reasonings and everything else like that. Like, it's just not anything, like, there's so much better things to talk about than these big three that could,
derail the whole night.
Yeah.
Especially if you have people on very large diametric opposites and then they get into the political conversation. It's just like, oh, here they go again. But again, if that's your family and you have a couple people that just love to crash on that stuff, great. Then you make fun of it and be like, hey guys, if you're going to bash each other in the heads over your politics stuff, can you go out to the garage and do it? I mean, there's some power tools and it's quieter and we don't have to hear the blood-curdling screams. Thanks.
I do have to tell you, like, I don't think anywhere in my political agenda it is to convert somebody, or in my religious agenda is to convert somebody at Thanksgiving or at Christmas into believing something else.
Right. I completely agree. It's one of the things we're so simpatico on. We totally, yeah.
So, roles and goals.
Yeah, it's really just that, recognize where they are. So how can you do this, right? Part of it is, you pre-frame the evening. On the way there, we'll discuss strategies. We'll discuss, okay, who's going to be there? What are they going through? What kind of support can they use? What sort of things we want to talk about? Be able to trade responsibilities. And the reason I suggest this is my mom fell, actually, and had a critical brain injury. Was in the hospital for quite a while. Came out, 2 years of physical therapy, $500,000 from the complications of the fall. Lost part of her vision. If you ever want to hide something from my mom, put it over here in the bottom left. She can't see it because that part of her vision is gone.
She'll never find it.
She won't. So we can't put the kids over on that side because she won't see them and run right over them because they're short still. So just recognizing my mom because of the brain injury, she's 99% the same woman I grew up with, but occasionally, like if we're at a buffet, she'll stand there and graze without thinking, oh, I need to put it on my plate and then go sit down. She'll just stand there and munch on it. It's like, Mom? Yeah, that's not okay. So someone needs to handle her. Someone needs to pay attention to her. And then when we do family get-togethers, we know that by and large, our families, you know, they want to connect with each other and talk about various things. So typically Autumn and I end up on kid duty, where we're kind of one of or the other of us is policing the kids, keeping an eye on them. And we'll talk about that. We'll strategize. Okay, I'll do this part, then you do that part. We'll trade off. We have hand signals. I mean, we kind of think it over.
Yeah.
It's important to us.
Yeah. And I think that a lot of times when, like, the family comes together, like, the grown-ups kind of go together, the kids kind of go together, but depending on how old the kids are, depends on if they need eyeballs or not. And sometimes when the whole family comes together, it's somehow, I don't want to say we delete our children, but we assume they're, like, kind of taking care of each other. And so to avoid stitches, broken bones, all that stuff, Jeremy and I usually take lead on taking care of the kids because that's our biggest interest, versus like connecting with our family, because at the end of the day, like, not that we don't get along with our family. Like, that's not what I want to say. Like,
well, it's go back to number one.
We have times and places where we will connect with our family. Usually it's at like the dinner time. It's not really before, or usually it's sometime after, like after the kids have kind of like worn themselves out. So
yeah, so it goes back to, is your family your peer group or not? And we interface with her family in a little bit different way than we do with my family, because her family has a much stronger entrepreneurial background, business, what's going on in the world from an entrepreneurial financial side. And my family, engineering, military, geek, nerd, you know, cerebral side. So we just relate to our families a little bit differently. And, you know, my parents are a little bit older. My parents are actually about the age of her grandparents. So, you know, just being in a little bit different places in life, priorities are different. And for us, you know, making sure the kids are monitored, because like at Mama and Papa's house, they have a fireplace and there's a pit and it's all surrounded by stone. And the kids love to jump in that pit. And, you know, all the adults in the house are like, hey, stop jumping in the pit, because if they hit their heads on the cement, that's going to get messy real fast. So they all get yelled at by all the adults in the house.
I was going to say, I literally have like terrifying dreams of somebody just smacking their head on it. Like, it's off. It's like the corner of the coffee table when your kid is first learning to walk. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
You just know. And like Jamie was that kid. Like, he had 2 black eyes. Like, looked like Frankenstein for a minute. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So we know our kids, and we got a 10-year-old, a 9-year-old, a 5-year-old, and a 4-year-old running around the house. It's like they're not quite ready to be fully unsupervised yet. But we're getting there.
But you know what we do really well, which kind of segues into our next like point, is just picking our battles.
Absolutely.
And knowing when to fight and when to not.
What's worth getting upset about, excited about, frustrated about?
Right.
What's worth crashing over?
Right. It's like picking. No, I don't want to say like picking your battles, but it's like.
No, it is picking your battles.
Realize like the war and the battle. You know what I mean? Like.
Long term versus short term.
Yeah.
Sometimes when it comes to like kids and introducing foods to them, or you know, you have the holidays and maybe somebody's going to let the kids try a little bit of alcohol here, have a sip of wine. In our opinion, that really should be a mom-dad decision, not a grandma-grandpa decision. Not that we've really had to deal with that, but we know families that have had, you know, hey, our kids are sensitive to food. Don't be doing certain things without letting us know first, without talking to us first. Edie can't have mango. It gives her a rash. So, you know.
Hives, yeah.
Yeah.
So, but it's knowing when to pick your battles, establishing rules and things like that. But it has to be definitely a two-way street. Sometimes I think what happens a lot of the time is because our parents raised us, they just assume that like their rules are the same as our rules, which is not the case.
In every situation.
So, I mean, if it's like a safety thing or like a behavioral thing, like you kind of got to pick and choose your battles. Because I feel like my parents are a lot more strict than I am. Mm-hmm. And I know, like, you know, my papa, he like puts down the hammer when something is just completely unacceptable.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just like, I don't want to fight with them about that. You know what I mean?
And it hasn't been so far of an extreme like, oh, you know, they go get a switch and start hitting our kids. It's like that we would just take the kids and we would leave. We wouldn't let it get to the point where the grandparents feel the need to enforce that type of discipline, because our kids show up differently. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, like that, having those boundaries of who should be responsible, you know, don't yell at my kid, I'll yell at my kid. you can yell at me. You know what I mean? Like,
Right. And that, I think, it's just a hard boundary to put in place.
and it's a feeling out zone, because for your grandparents, they haven't been a grandparent before. This is new to them. And so they're wanting to be a good parent and to you, and to be a good grandparent, and make sure standards are established and reinforced. Again, knowing the roles and goals, having that patience, because it's all a work in progress, right? Your grandparents, they haven't done this before. It's like I tell people, they're like, yo, when you tell somebody act your age, I'm like, I've never been this age before, so I don't know how to do it. I'm just kind of winging it. Yay.
Yeah, and by the time you figure it out,
You're on another age.
Or it's your birthday.
You leveled up, and now I'm level whatever.
Yeah.
Level 15, level 16. Yes.
But I think this also kind of segues into our last point, which is the overall theme, I think, of this episode, which is don't do anything that you're going to regret, because these people are your family and they're in it for the long haul. Mm-hmm. Just like you.
Yeah, and I actually, I have a story that ties into that whole pick your battle and don't do something you're going to regret. Is 1 year for Grandma Jenny, for my birthday. Grandma Jenny was still alive, and I had just come back from like a week of training, and as soon as I landed, I was like right back in the thick of it, and I had a birthday party that I had to host. So we're celebrating my birthday, but earlier in that day, I had to host a 2-hour birthday party for like 30 kids. So, I mean, I had spun a crap ton of energy, gave them a great experience. It was a wonderful afternoon. And we were going to go to this hibachi place that's really good, and we always go there for birthdays. Mm-hmm. And so I go up early, I park my car, take a nap in the car because I'm exhausted. And this is before Autumn and I had gotten together, so I was, single. And so
we call this time BA, before Autumn.
Yeah. Or just bad. But anyway. So I'm crashed out, and my phone rings, and it's my sister-in-law saying, "Hey, where are you?" And I'm like, "I'm at the restaurant. I'll come on in." And she's like, "Oh, well, are you at Red Lobster?" I'm like, "What?" Yeah, Grandma Jenny is gonna go to Okasa. Osaka. She's gonna go to Osaka later this month, so she didn't want to go there today. And I was like, "Excuse me?"
Right, for your birthday.
For my birthday, we're going to go someplace nobody asked me if I like? Oh, okay. So I rolled in. I'm already kind of not in a good mood now. And so then we...
Woken up in the car.
Right.
Have to go to another restaurant.
Right.
And by the way, you're already late.
Well, now I'm late because I have to go to a new restaurant. I was perfectly on time where I was.
Right, you were early.
I was early.
Napping.
I was.
Okay.
Absolutely. So I roll in, and now we have to do the big, huge family thing, and it's all, of course, it's only my family, because there's only my family at that point.
You're welcome.
And so we... Thank you now. Yes, ma'am. Life is so much more complex, but it's more fun. So we've got now all of my family. I'm sitting directly across from Grandma at this ginormous table, and we're talking about what I've been doing the last week and all these different things and where I've gone, these trainings and all this really cool stuff. And then she starts to take an interest in my business and how's my school going and da 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 da. And it was really, some of the questions she was asking were kind of inappropriate, because in the past I have reached out to her for input and she completely shut me down. And so I've just removed her from that area of my life. And so she started like talking trash a little bit. And I was like, well, in the last week and a half, I've cleared $20,000. So you can go take a big, and I tore into her for a second. And I may have dropped an F-bomb in the restaurant. And she's like, she got real cold. And she's like, well, you don't have to yell at me. And then I was like, trust me, I'm not yelling, because I will shut down this entire blankety restaurant if I'm going to start yelling. And my dad's like, yeah, no, he's not yelling. It's fine. Because my dad's trying to be the peacemaker between her and me. Because the thing about my grandma, when she was 6, she was going to school, and there was these Polish nuns, and she wouldn't speak Polish to them. They had to speak English to her. And so this was back in the days when they could literally beat kids and hit them with rulers and all that stuff. She didn't care. And she got them to speak English with her. So that stubbornness at 6 has been there her whole entire life, and I've had it modeled through her. I've had it modeled through my dad. So I'm going to come right back at her, because I also have my Kung Fu stuff, and I'm like, who do you think you are? Just because you're this person, that you think that gives you a right to judge me or to tear in, and I just went right back at her. And I'm like the only person in my generation who does. And later my dad's like, yeah, I really wish you hadn't done that, because I heard about that so much. I'm like, well, sorry, Dad, but it was none of her business, and she was out of line. And he's like, well, that may be, but I got to hear about it, and you really should have picked your battles better.
And this is your grandmother, and she is 80, 90.
Oh, she was 90-something back then.
I mean, like, people age and however old means more respect, especially, like, in her time and age, Grandma Jenny's time and age.
But I'm a two-way streeter. I'm going to give you back what you're giving me.
But, man, like, looking back on it, though, do you actually, like, regret it?
No.
So... this isn't anything that you're looking back and regretting that you did?
I would make different choices now because I'm a different person. But what I did then, I felt was warranted in the situation.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I guess my question is, would you have changed anything about it? Whether it was like your tone or maybe like the specific words that you used.
Who I am now, I would have shown up differently, yes.
Okay.
I'm much more centered, much more solid in myself.
So there's a part of you that regrets some part of that.
That's hard for me to say because I don't regret a lot of stuff. I made choices based on information because of where I was.
Right.
Right? And maybe I could have put in the story of, well, she'll be dead soon. It's okay. I can weather this storm. Maybe I would have done that with her. I don't know. We were never super close.
Right.
So
right.
You know, it was always a little bit of friction there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, Autumn has a moment of story about picking her battles.
Yeah, I mean, we could talk about that sometime.
Okay.
Like, my thought process is we're running out of time. Your story was so good to begin with.
Oh, yeah, nice.
We'll just keep it around for this podcast.
Do you guys hear this? You hear this right there? Nice deflection. I love you.
I look back at it, and it's not really anything that I regret knowing the information that I have now or anything else like that. Because, like, on some level, like... somebody gotta stand up to these people, okay?
I love you, and you sound exactly like me. I mean, you don't regret it? Well, maybe a little bit, but no, not really. You sound exactly like me. I love you.
I know.
You are so much fun. We are so the same person sometimes.
I know. It's really hard to regret things. I don't disagree with you.
Yeah.
If there's anything I regret, it's probably wearing this one outfit this one time at this one place.
And someone said you should wear the other pants?
I don't know, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, that would be something I regret.
But look, our best advice for you, the 5th point was like, don't do things that you're going to regret.
Yeah, think about stuff long term.
And a lot of people carry regret and all that other stuff their entire lifetimes.
And it wears them down.
I mean, I'm not saying like be egotistical and like very confident in all of your choices and things like that, because there are pieces and parts of everything that Jeremy and I regret when it comes to our family dynamics.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, like, make smart choices.
Yeah.
Be a good person.
Yeah.
Be nice. Realize that, like, these people are going through just as much stuff. As you are.
Right.
And if you can look on them with compassion and give them time and space, everybody's a kid at heart.
Yeah, and they may never say thank you for you not being harsh, but you can respect yourself for choosing not to take advantage or to crush or to challenge or to smash when you could have. So, you know, I could have said the hard thing and I didn't. And that's because of who I am and my integrity and how I show up in my life. And it's really, you know, going through these questions or going through these 5 points, it's really about you modeling this begins to empower your kids to play a different game. And you can begin to educate your kids on, hey, here's what's going on, guys, as they get a little older, and you can begin to help them strategize. And we know great Aunt Bertha is going to want to give everybody a hug and a kiss. So what if you run in and grab her by the arm and hug her arm first? You know, what are some ways we can mitigate that stuff?
Yeah.
So it really is, you know, learning these strategies. It helps you start to empower your kids to show up differently for family as well, and to realize you don't have to be buddy-buddy with everybody in your family. You can still be nice. You can still be friendly. But it doesn't mean everybody's buddy-buddy all the time.
So let's go ahead and recap the 5 things that you can do to help you get through this holiday season in your family dynamics and navigating the entire situation.
Number 1, know that your family is probably not your peer group.
2,
you can know the secret sauce, which is breathing and patience.
3,
recognize the roles and goals and accept people for where they are and who they are.
4,
pick your battles. Not everything has to be life and death.
and final,
Don't do anything you're going to regret.
I held up both hands.
They're cool.
I
I'll
was
give you
like,
10.
that's not 10.
It's 5 times 2 because there's 2 of us. I'll
5
give you
plus
5.
5.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Okay.
Yeah. So remember, everything you're doing as a parent, you are out there. You deserve to feel warm, big, and happy. You get to choose to play a game where everybody gets to feel better. Everyone can win. Any final thoughts?
Good luck. Godspeed.
Make sure that you give us a 5-star review because this was amazing. Give us a thumbs up, give us a like, give us some love, give a review, all the greatness. And tomorrow, when this goes live, tomorrow, I have a webinar coming out to help you improve your family communication without yelling, threatening, bribery, or losing control. How to get your kids to listen the first time. It's about a 48-minute conversation, and it's amazing. I'm really proud of it, actually. I've spent a lot of time working on it, literally my whole life, but I'm really excited for that. And we've got a course coming out next month to help families improve their dynamics, make your life easier, faster, better relationship with your kids. Create a home where your kids feel safe to be open and honest with you, to have a house full of trust and a house full of love. It's totally possible, faster than you could think. Less than 8 weeks to transform a family. More details coming soon. Check out theparentingprogram.com.
Yeah, and if you were listening to the podcast, I'm probably going to record a commercial about it, and you're going to hear lots and lots and lots of things about that in the next, week. Right?
Yes, ma'am. Well, actually, the next month, because, this is a big deal.
We's going all month long.
We's transforming lives.
That's what we's doing.
We's got to get you right with your kids.
Okay.
All right.
Let's
Before
wrap
we get
this
too
up.
silly.
Thank you guys so much for listening, as always.
You're amazing.
Watching, all that jazz.
Yep, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye. I love you. You're so much fun.
You're welcome.